Hi, I'm Nicola Humber, and today I am joined by Jacqui McGinn, who is a spiritual mentor and energy healer. And I've known Jacqui for a few years
Mm.
now, the last few
About
years.
4 or something.
I
Yeah.
think so. I think so. And Jacqui has just joined the next round of the Unbound Writing Mastermind, which I'm really excited about. Really excited to work with her and her book and her writing. And I wanted to have a chat about writing kind of more generally because it is such an interesting subject, and I'm always fascinated about what calls people to write and think about writing a book. So Jacqui, tell us some more about your writing and what's happening with that right now. What stage you're at right now?
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I first set the intention probably in about 2003 that I was
Mm-hmm.
going to write a book.
Wow.
Um, but I wasn't very stable or centered at the time and had no idea that I wasn't. And I've tried it. I have worked with another coach, and then it was kind of, it was like I was really split between being like massively academic in some parts of it and then falling apart emotionally in other parts of it. So it was a bit of a mess. Then kind of like last year, I tried entering the Hay House Writers Workshop competition, got 3 chapters done, but was working right up until the deadline and was just like, oh, this is really shit, which I know every author kind of goes through this
Yeah.
shit. That has been well and truly taught to me through kind of like what I've tried doing so far. But it was a deeper dissatisfaction, just like I knew it wasn't hitting the mark.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 2018 was really a year of, no, you've got to do the deep healing to be ready for it. And then as soon as I saw, like, you were launching Unbound Press, it's like, oh, that's it, that's who it needs to be with. when can I start?
Amazing. Like your book was waiting for that.
It was. It's been, yeah. It's totally like it's kind of been hovering, going like, yeah, okay, yeah. Here's a little bit more for you. Here's a little bit more for you. Oh, okay, go.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's interesting what you say there, about I mean, one about like having this idea, this desire to write a book for such a long time, and I'm sure many of the women watching will be able to identify with that. I mean, I know I've wanted to write a book right since I was a little girl. It's always been there, but I pushed it
Yeah.
away for so long because it's like, well, no, that's not for me. I can't write. So yeah, one, I definitely think people will identify with that. But this sense that you've tried to do it in different ways before and it hasn't quite fit. And I think that's really key as well for like the women in my community, the women I work with, unbound women. We can't just do it. We can't just go, okay, I'll just write something and put it out there. It has to be right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not. I know there is the whole kind of like done is better than perfect, but it's not that.
No.
It's like it's a. Am I actually writing from the depths of who I really am in this, or am I slipping into that good girl?
Yeah.
Oh, what I think people want to read.
Yeah.
And then that kind of really dulls it because you're not going into the place that would really challenge people and make them think and really bring about the transformation. Like I said with your book Unbound, I knew I wasn't ready to read it when I first bought it. I needed a bit more preparation before, and then it was like, wow.
I love that. I loved hearing that. And it was it was interesting because I hadn't quite recognized that, because sometimes, you know, we write a book, we go through this process when we're writing it, and we put it out there, and sometimes I don't think I'd fully honored like how transformational that book is and can be, you know, certainly to the right women. So thank you for highlighting that to me. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Not everybody is ready to read Unbound. No. But you know how, you know, that is the kind of books that I'm interested in helping women to write, either through the Unbound Press or through the Writing Mastermind, you know, that enable the readers to have that depth of transformation that you don't get just from reading any book. No. Yeah. No. So you mentioned how kind of last year, 2018, you went through this process. You kind of acknowledged that you were going through this process of healing in order to be able to write your book. Can you say a little bit more about that? And I'm sure it, you know, it's a lengthy process. But
yeah, I mean, I basically I know the book has to be about quite a traumatic, really stressful time in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was manipulated online. And I know there was stuff going on in me that kind of invited that situation in. But it got to a point where obviously, like in this day and age, if you're going to share a book, it's got to go on social media. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be me very deeply, vulnerably sharing on social media. And there was still all this kind of like stuff going on in my mind that was like, it's not safe. Mm-hmm. It's not safe. And of course it was gonna, you know, I had to, like, online marketing at the end of 2017 that went spectacularly wrong because it was my mind trying to protect me, going like, no, don't kind of like expose yourself on social media. Mm-hmm. Don't expose yourself, you know, and welcoming people you don't know, because that's not safe. And it took, you know, I'm training in hypnotherapy. I'm nearly at the end of the course now. And it was kind of this deep dive with getting to know the subconscious more intimately. But also for me, from the inside out, seeing like, oh, okay, so that's what my mind did to cope with that bit, and my mind created this strategy, and it can be undone as well. So it's like been a process of kind of seeing what my mind created in a traumatic time and undoing it. But then also it's kind of, you know, we were just talking before the call about something massive that came up at the weekend on the hypnotherapy course, mm-hmm. under some like intense astrological conditions as well. And it was something way deeper than that, you know, it was that actually, I mean, I had liked to think of myself as quite a cheerful person who was open and honest, and actually what we discovered was a massively miserable, pessimistic part of me. And so these two parts of me, you know, the conscious, optimistic, cheerful Jacqui, mm-hmm. and the deeply unconscious, miserable, pessimistic Jacqui, were in conflict with each other. Yeah. And so I was never going to move forward while there was this inner conflict going on. So it's like this deep dive, this deep kind of exploration of my own psyche to then be able to put it onto the page. To, I guess, I mean, when I was chatting with a friend about it yesterday, that it's like putting a blueprint on the page for other people to be able to go, okay, that's how I can move forward.
Yeah. And it's almost like an energetic blueprint, like people respond to the energy of the words and how you've written it, and also the process that you've been through, you've experienced during the writing.
Because I've seen that, you know, I've seen that in you, because we've known each other for like 4 years, isn't it? and I can see what Unbound has done. That, you know, like, oh wow, yeah, I want some of that.
So I just want to say, it's almost like a health warning here. You know, this process is not for everyone, and people, you know, you can absolutely write a book in a much more kind of, you know, probably straightforward way that doesn't have all of these transformational effects. But what I'm interested in is really holding space for writers to experience this transformation during the writing process, so that your readers get to experience the same thing as well, or, you know, something, or their own version of it. That's what really fascinates me. So tell us some more about the book that you're actually writing right now. You have been writing for a while in one way or another.
So it was basically, so the title of it is Pieces to Peace, and that name popped into my head on the M3.
Glamorous.
Isn't it just? So I've been to a workshop by Robert Holden on lovability.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he takes you into this really loving, non-judgmental space. I was feeling amazing, and just Pieces to Peace popped into my head. And I was like, ooh, that's a good name. And it's like, I've tried and like, oh no, it's not quite working, let's hold back again. Try,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not quite working, hold back again. And the whole idea of it is kind of on an individual level, we're made up of lots of different pieces. And the more we can get all of these inner pieces back into conscious awareness and working in harmony with each other, you know, the happier, the more fulfilled, the more loving and compassionate we can be.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so, you know, on that individual level, and then on that global level as well, that each person is, you know, in the same way, each person is a vital piece
Mm-hmm.
of a bigger piece, but we're not going to get to that unless people are doing the individual inner piece work. And so, you know, it is amazing that you know, had this experience through the hypnotherapy course of, like, you know, the conscious, happy, optimistic piece of me, and then the miserable, unconscious piece of me, because they weren't in harmony. Mm-hmm. And they were keeping me stuck, and they were blocking me. So that's its kind of basic essence. I've gone through, you know, I've tried, you know, when you kind of like, you explore the market outside of yourself is the traditional way, and it's like,
what we're taught to do.
Narcissism, that's a big topic. So I did, you know, I researched narcissism, I created a program to help people with it, healed my own stuff around it as well, and that was very valuable, and it brought me a lot of insights into it, but it wasn't quite the right topic, and so it was never gonna, you know, obviously it's going to be part of the book, but it's not the whole book. And then I tried teacher well-being, and I realized, like, a teacher well-being book actually either needs to teach teachers how to say no or to find a new job. Like, you can't just say, like, oh, breathe a bit deeply and you'll be fine. And I knew that kind of, you know, with energy healing, like, you know, oh, we'll balance your chakras. I knew, like, you go into school the next day, your chakras are going to go out of balance again. But I'm seeing now how, you know, it is that whole good girl, that not being able to say no is a massive part of not being at peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, there's all these different attempts at it, and it's like, it has taken me already on a big journey. And, you know, I have worried, like with Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, that she says, you know, if you don't embrace the ideas, it will go away and it will find somebody else. And I did worry, you know, like, because I've ignored it for a bit, is going to go and find someone else. But no, this one is a very stubborn bugger. Jacqui, it's you.
And the thing is, you've been doing the work around, even if it's not consciously focusing on the book.
Yeah.
You know, everything that you've been experiencing is kind of going to be going into this book in one way or another. So, you know, maybe you haven't been sitting down and writing, but I guess the book knows that
the book knows.
You're there, you're committed to it. And you know, I this is again something that I found personally, and also with working with other women authors and writers, is that, you know, very often there is this kind of long process where we've kind of gone all over the place. We've gone backwards and forwards and down different
it's
paths.
not just me.
No, like in the, you know, there can be a sense of frustration. It's like, I just want to write the book, but actually we need to experience all of this. And then when we make this kind of really definite commitment to, like, this is the right time and I'm committing to this now, actually the book can unfold with relative ease. It's not easy, but you know, there can absolutely be an element of ease there, because you've done all of this work before and you've had all of this experience before. So hopefully that will be the case, Jacqui.
But I know you're there if it's not.
Well, that's the thing. And it is I think, you know, writing, it can be a very isolating process, especially when we're wanting or needing to have this transformational experience and healing as we go. So I think to have that support's really important. So I guess that leads me into, you know, what specifically attracted you about the Unbound Writing Mastermind? What made you decide yes?
I think it was kind of, so I mean, I saw the first round of it and thought, oh yeah, someday. And then I guess kind of like, once I kind of fixed my social media problem, I felt more comfortable. It was like, right, okay, something's really shifting. I was doing more powerful energy work as well. And actually, like, I had an Akashic record reading with someone as well who was like, yeah, to get more into alignment with your business, you've got to write the book. And it was just kind of like, okay, so what does Jacqui need to do? And it was like, you know, the lady doing it was like, I'm being handed a pen, so just do it. Okay. And then there was your post about the when you'd worked with the fertility clients.
Oh yeah, on conception, yeah.
And how kind of it was the same with the book, that, you know, birthing a book, you need to create the welcoming environment, the like, oh, I'm so glad you're here, not the why are you not here type of environment. And that really resonated. And I think that was kind of at the back of my mind for a while, thinking like, yeah, I really need to create this open vibe for it to come in. And then just kind of, it felt like the right time to start reading Unbound in December. And then it was just like, right, got to do it. It's a flip got switched in December, and it was like, right, it's time.
Yeah. I love that, just this sense of knowing that
yeah, so it's like, you know, like everything that I'd been reading, and kind of, yeah, it was all kind of gently moving there, and then suddenly it's
yeah. And actually, I think this is something that's really important for us to know as writers, people who share our work kind of online, and is that, you know, very often the people receiving that go through this process of, like, they see something that you've written, it's like, oh, and it resonates, and they may or may not actually say anything at the time. Sometimes you don't get that feedback from somebody at the time, but, you know, they are seeing what you're sharing, and it is impacting on them, and then when it is the right time for them, then they make the decision to buy the book or work with you as a client or step into one of your programs or come to your retreat. You know, there is so much always going on under the surface, and I know people can get disheartened. They're like, oh, why isn't anyone responding? You know, why hasn't someone taken the specific action that I wanted them to take from reading that particular post? And it's like, no, it works in a much more magical way than that. Yeah. So I love hearing about the process.
I mean, it was interesting as well, kind of like, you know, with other things that I've kind of invested in the past, there's kind of more of an intellectual, it's gonna benefit, let's write a list of pros and cons about, you know, should I do this? Oh, okay, the pros outweigh the cons. And with this one, it was like, I don't need that. You know, like there's every chakra in every cell in the body's going, yes. And that in itself was a really interesting experience. That actually is the kind of response that I would rather have.
Yeah, exactly. Not that it's kind of intellectually it makes sense, and you know, you've gone through your pros and cons, but it's just like, I can just feel that this is the right thing. Powerful. So Jacqui, tell us how we can find out more about you and your work, and keep in touch with what's happening with your book. What's the best way for people to do that?
So I'm on Instagram as Jacqui McGinn, and yes, I know it's an awkward spelling, but it means I get everything that's available. I'm also Intuitive Jacqui on Facebook. So I mean, what I put on Instagram goes on Facebook as well. So, you know, one or the other. Also, my blog is jacquimcginn.com. Again, another one, I was able to get it because it's a rare name. Difficult to spell. JACQUINTGINN. And those are the best ways. And I am going to be gradually setting up my own little hub with freebies. That's all been part of the adventure as well. So,
there's always lots of different elements.
Facebook, Instagram are the best places to kind of keep in touch with like the latest little insights bubbling through. And I have been sharing kind of, you know, even this morning actually.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet, so I'll have a look. But no, it's really interesting to hear about the process of writing the book as well. Again, that's something that I am passionate about, that we don't just wait until the book is finished to start sharing. It's like we share it along the way. Fantastic. So we'll put all the links below this video so people can see them. And
I don't have to remember the spelling.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Jacqui, for chatting with me today. It's so interesting. So many different kind of themes came out of that. And if you are interested in joining the next round of the Unbound Writing Mastermind, again, I will put the link below this video. It's nicolahumber.com/the-unbound-writing-mastermind. Bit of a mouthful, so I'll put the link there so you can come join us. Fantastic. Thanks, Jacqui, and see you again soon. Bye.
Yes.